All right, welcome everyone. Today we are embarking on this incredible journey, an expedition for your health. Think about it. The food you eat, that's the essential fuel that powers every single one of your adventures, from the classroom to the sports field. So let's get started. So let's just stop and think about that for a second. Whether it's playing sports with your friends, exploring outside, or even just tackling a really tough exam, you need energy. You need fuel. The question is, what's the right kind of fuel for the human body? Okay, so every great explorer needs a map, right? And our first stop on this expedition is to learn how to read ours. This is the map that's going to guide us to the very best fuel sources to keep our bodies running strong and ready for anything. The treasure we're looking for on this map, it's what we call a balanced diet. And it's not about just eating one so-called superfood. The real secret, the key, is variety. Getting a good mix of all sorts of different foods in just the right amounts. Not too much, and definitely not too little. But why does this even matter? What's the point? Well, the goal couldn't be simpler. It's all about having the strength and the energy you need to live your life to the absolute fullest every single day. That's the ultimate prize on this expedition. And here it is. Take a look. This is our official map for the expedition, the food pyramid. Now, the rule for reading this thing is actually super simple. The lower a food group is on the pyramid, the more of it you should be eating. So, naturally, we're going to start our exploration right there, at the very foundation. Okay, let's start at the bottom, the foundation. The foods you see at the base of this pyramid are your main source of energy. I want you to think of them as the primary fuel for your daily travels, giving you the power to run, jump, think, and learn. So this whole bottom layer is just packed with all sorts of good stuff. You'll find carbohydrates here, things like bread, rice, and pasta. Think of these as your body's high-quality gasoline, providing that long-lasting energy you need. And then you've got this incredible world of fruits and veggies, each one loaded with vitamins. Like vitamin C from oranges? That helps heal cuts, acting like your body's own little repair kit. This whole group, right here, should be the biggest part of your daily fuel supply. No question. All right, let's climb up a bit to the middle levels of our pyramid. I want you to think of these foods as the construction and repair crew for your body. They're the ones that help build strong muscles and keep everything in perfect working order. So in this middle section, this is where we find our proteins, things like meat, fish, and eggs, and also dairy products like milk and cheese. Now, these are absolutely crucial because protein is literally what your body is made of. It builds and repairs everything from your muscles all the way to your hair. Our map, the pyramid, tells us to have these in moderation. So we don't need quite as much from this group as we do from the base. And just like that, we've reached the peak, the very top of our pyramid. You'll notice it's the smallest section, and there's a really good reason for that. Think of these foods like a rare, beautiful viewpoint. It's nice to visit once in a while, but it's definitely not a place you want to set up camp. Right at the tippy top, that's where we find fats, oils, sweets, and salty snacks. This really drives home the pyramid's main rule, doesn't it? While these foods might give you a quick little burst of energy, they have very, very little nutritional value. They are best saved for an occasional treat, not as your regular fuel for this big expedition of ours.
Okay, so every great expedition has its challenges, and on our journey to good health, there are definitely some dangers and obstacles that can knock us right off course. So let's take a look at what those are.
Just picture it. An explorer, lost in the wild, no map, not enough supplies. Things can go wrong pretty fast, right? Well, the exact same thing is true for our bodies when we don't get the right nutritional supplies. So what are we talking about here? What are these obstacles? Well, sometimes it can be an illness that just prevents the body from using nutrients the way it's supposed to. Or, honestly, it might just be our own habits, like eating the same few foods over and over again, without much variety. But there are also much bigger challenges out there. For a lot of people, things like how expensive healthy food is, or even things like droughts causing food shortages, that can make getting a balanced diet incredibly difficult.
This slide really paints a clear picture for us. Over on the left, we see a balanced plate. That's our target destination. It's got the protein, the veggies, the carbs. But on the right, you have a meal of processed foods. While it might seem quick and easy, it's a major detour from our path to good health.
Taking a wrong turn on this expedition, it can have some very real consequences. So it's important to know what signs to look out for. Let's almost be like naturalists and document some of the specific health conditions that can pop up when our diet is out of balance. We'll start with some of the more common ones.
This chart here shows how specific shortages can lead directly to problems. For instance, too much of the wrong stuff, like sugar, can cause tooth decay. Simple as that. Or not getting enough of the right things, like vitamin D, which you get from sunlight and certain foods, can lead to a condition called rickets, which makes bones really weak. And hey, even simple things like not getting enough fiber and water can cause problems, like constipation.
Now, when these kinds of imbalances go on for a long time, the consequences can become much more serious, even life-altering. This table highlights some of those conditions. Obesity, for example, is often preventable with a good balanced diet and just staying active. Other conditions are caused by really severe deficiencies, like kwashiorkor, which comes from a lack of protein. And then there are complex eating disorders, like anorexia, where the body is just dangerously starved of the nutrition it needs to survive. And it's really important to know that for conditions like these, help and support are always available.
Okay, we've seen the map, we've identified our best fuel sources, we've even learned about the dangers along the path. Now, the most important part of this whole journey begins. It's time for you to become the captain of your own lifelong health expedition.
And here they are, your official captain's orders. 4 key steps to make sure your journey is a success. First, always use that food pyramid as your guide, as your map. Second, aim for variety every single day. Try to eat a rainbow of fruits and vegetables. Third, choose fresh foods over processed ones whenever you can. And last but not least, remember that your body's engine needs more than just food. You've got to pair it with plenty of water and an active lifestyle.
So, if you remember one thing from our time together, let it be this. Your health is the most exciting, the most important adventure you will ever have. It's the journey that lasts your entire lifetime. And the single biggest takeaway from our expedition today is really simple. Fuel it wisely.